Yo, what up guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about Creed 3. Alright, so basically the summary of the movie is still dominating the boxing world, Adonis Creed is thriving in his career and family life when Damien, a childhood friend and former boxing prodigy, resurfaces after serving time in prison. He's eager to prove that he deserves his shot in the ring. The face-off between former friends is more than just a fight. To settle the score, Adonis must put his future on the line to battle Damien, a fighter who has nothing to lose. So basically my summarization of the movie is from the beginning we're introduced to these two characters, which is Adonis and Damien when they were kids, how basically Damien was Adonis's big brother. Like they were together, they looked out for each other. And I feel like from this is where we're supposed to get what the story is about and where we're supposed to connect with these characters. And when we move in, it becomes like we see now Adonis has stopped boxing. He's now a big superstar. He's like one of those he's in management now. He's making money through other boxers. And then one day this guy Jonathan Majors with Damien shows up and he's like, oh hey, remember me? And then we have to connect Majors back to the opening sequence to realize, oh yeah, they were childhood friends. And Majors feels as if he's out of time and he needs Adonis to help him to get his title shot, which is all good story. For me, I feel like we really didn't have enough time from the opening to when Major's character is introduced to connect with him at a level of whereby we feel the brotherly love. What it felt like was, Damien was somebody using Adonis when they were kids to get money from boxing. Like Adonis was basically betting on Major's fights. So we really didn't have much of a connection to his character when he's introduced. And then when we move forward, Majors gets his shot by doing some dodgy stuff, that leads to Drago getting injured and stuff like that. So if you haven't watched the movie, I'm really trying not to spoil it for you. But basically, from there, the feud then comes whereby Adonis, when Majors becomes world heavyweight champion, he starts saying bad stuff about Adonis to the press, and then Adonis is sort of addressed this, and then they end up going to fight to silence Majors, which is all great. My biggest qualms with the movie is there's no good story arc, so the story doesn't really sell you. Like, I feel what they were going for was an emotional storyline, but then it fails to deliver on that because I feel for myself there's no connection. You don't really connect to the characters from the beginning. We all know that Adonis is Creed's son, so he grew up, a tough life, which we were introduced to in the first Creed, and we've grown to fall in love with his character to this day. And then for us to get a backstory of what life was like for him as a young person, I feel like we really didn't live in that world for far too long, and they had to rush the movie. I feel like with this Creed, the storyline they were trying to go for, it's the type of movie where it has to go for like 2.5 hours. For something below 2 hours, I don't know how they were gonna do it. But for me then, in rushing it, it's like they failed to deliver upon what we were supposed to connect with. So once Adonis has grown, he's making all this money, his friend comes from jail, and then he's like, I've been in prison for 18 years, which feels like a long time, right? If someone has been gone to prison for 18 years, basically we're assuming they went in when they were like 17. That means they're now like at 35. And we all know that boxing is a young man's sport. So for someone to come out of prison at 35 and then go straight into having a world title shot, it's just something that feels not really realistic. Like, that's surreal. Like, fine, you have a friend who is Adonis, who's at the top of the world, and he can, do you favors. But for you to go from being in prison and nobody to all of a sudden getting a title shot, the man was not even a professional. So this is his first bout. His first bout is to fight for the world heavyweight championship in front of the world on DAZN. What are the chances of that happening in real life? I don't know, because I'm not really into boxing like that. I just felt like there's a lot of scenes that could have been put in, maybe put him have his first fight, let him showcase what he can do, and then that warrants him getting a title shot. Something like that would have worked for me. And then also, like, we should have spent more time developing these characters from when they were young, so that we create that emotional investment, so that we understand why Damien would have felt as if Adonis stole his life. And he explains it, what he wants to do, how he was gonna go pro and stuff like that. But then none of that really justified him saying, oh, you stole my life, because it didn't feel like Adonis stole his life. Because we've all seen, the tough part is us as an audience. If you've watched Creed 1 and Creed 2, we've seen what Adonis has had to go through to reach the stage that he's at, right? So it's like, come on, man. You know. Other than that, the other thing that I thought this movie lacked, like as I've been learning about screenwriting, is there's this thing called stakes. So the stakes are not really high. What happens if Adonis doesn't win? Like, the only thing that Damien is doing is slandering him, saying he's not who he says he is, throwing parties and doing stuff like that. But there's not enough juice there to say what happens if Damien wins. He gets to prove that he can beat Adonis. Like, yeah, great. The man will be 39-2, and he'll go back to his life. His family will love him. I just thought as if for MBJ's character, there wasn't a lot at stake for him to win or lose. And even for Damien as well, there was not a lot of stake for him to win or lose. What was there and what I felt like what the script or the movie was trying to go for was they're fighting for their relationship, but then they're fighting for that emotional win. And I felt like the movie lacked that. It lacked. There was just nothing. Like, what do these guys lose when they eventually fight? What do these guys gain? What does Adonis gain? Respect? You retired, you know what I mean? And you've done this in the past 2 movies. So I felt like they missed the mark then. The script really should have been rewritten at a certain point to make it make sense, in the sense of what's there to lose for either character. My other critique of the movie was, with these type of movies, I think the fights, what sells the fight. So if you remember in Creed 2, the fight with Ivan Drago's son, right? That fight, it's okay. The stakes are there. We know that this guy is a heavy puncher, so with every punch he might knock out Adonis, right? And we're like, please don't. I felt like with this fight, what it would have been to make it more, to get what they wanted to do, we should have seen them coming up, them being trained how to fight and having that technique. Because I felt like in this final fight, the idea was technique versus technique, and basically having the similar techniques is what brought them together, because they learned how to fight together. But I feel like the movie failed to highlight that. The movie failed to showcase that, this is about technique. So what we end up having is 12 rounds of people just punching each other for no reason, right? There's no emotional connection for you as an audience member where you're like, Damien might win, Adonis might win, but it's like, yeah, So I felt like the movie could have done a whole lot better. But, one of the things is it being Michael B. Jordan's first movie directing, there's a lot of things we can forgive, right? In terms of, okay, maybe they, you know what I mean? But when you get to direct something that's almost like $100 million budget, you have to deliver, because you have a team that's supposed to be there helping you tell the story narratively and helping make it make sense, right? Other than that, I would say the picture was quality, man. Like those IMAX cameras that they use create a phenomenal picture. I like the composition of the film. I liked the sound design within the film. I like the editing. I liked a little bit of the pacing as well. I would say the performances by all characters really worked. Like all actors delivered. The little girl, she really delivered. Tessa Thompson always delivers. They all made what the material they had work. Even Michael B. Jordan, you can see his growth. Like in the first Creed, you could tell like, okay, maybe this is not his thing. Like we were all wondering, like, is he really a boxer? Is he really about that life? And then when you look in 3, he is that. Jonathan Majors, once again, another phenomenal performance from the brother. Everything worked for me in terms of acting. It's just that it felt as if they had a bunch of scenes and had to create a narrative out of that, which is what made it not really work for me. And I understand why now it's available online, because I'm pretty sure people, I don't know what a lot of critics are saying about the movie. It just feels like a good movie, you know what I mean? It's not something that you'd be like, this should be an Oscar-winning movie, you know what I mean? It's like, nah, this is just a good movie, okay, cool. Another part of a franchise, we move on. And I think nowadays we live in a time whereby we expect greatness, from people when they're working. We expect greatness, great stories, especially, with brothers at the helm. When we have a POC director, it's like you have that high expectation, but also you understand that, okay, this is his first time. And if his first movie looks like this, then it's only uphill from here, right? And that's something that I can't wait to see the next MBJ movie that he makes. But overall, it's a good movie. I'm not gonna say it's a terrible movie. It's a very good movie to watch. It's if you're just somebody who enjoys watching boxing shows. Some of the shots are just crazy. The final fight, like it's epic. So yeah. With that said, this is my review. Let me know in the comment section what you thought of Creed. Would you recommend it? And what did you think? I'll see you guys in the next one.